There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service.
Kamala Harris began her speech with a powerful reflection, embracing the hardship of the moment, but inspiring her supporters to find light amid the darkness. Her words carried the weight of hope and conviction, urging Americans to be resilient and determined in the face of uncertainty.
My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up.
As she addressed the loss, Harris emphasized that America's promise endures beyond any single election. Her words encouraged listeners to remember that their fight for progress is ongoing, fueled by a shared love for their country and a commitment to its ideals.
A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States.
In highlighting the importance of democratic principles, Harris called for unity, respecting the nation's foundational values above all else. Her reminder of loyalty to the Constitution underscored her dedication to democracy, even in moments of personal loss. Earlier that day, Harris had made a phone call to President-elect Trump, congratulating him on his victory and ensuring the peaceful transfer of power. The act demonstrated her commitment to the democratic process and respect for the nation's principles.
She also talked about, she did speak on the phone with now President-elect Donald Trump earlier today, talking about the peaceful transfer of power and her effort there to hand that off as Biden and Harris will leave office in January.
My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation.
This was more than a concession. It was a vow to continue her mission. Harris reminded her supporters that the pursuit of freedom and fairness remains, even beyond this particular campaign. Her commitment to these ideals would not waver.
And we will continue to wage this fight in the voting booth, in the courts, and in the public square. And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve.
Harris urged her supporters to carry the fight into their everyday lives, stressing that real change is not just about politics, but also about compassion. By treating others with respect and empathy, she believed Americans could contribute to a stronger, more inclusive society.
To the young people who are watching, it is... I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up.
In a heartfelt message to young people, Harris acknowledged the pain of disappointment, but reminded them that setbacks are only part of the journey. Her words were a call to stay resilient, encouraging the next generation to keep pushing forward with optimism and tenacity.
The fight for our freedom will take hard work. But like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And the fight for our country is always worth it.
Harris shared her belief in the value of hard work, presenting it not as a burden, but as a privilege. For her, the struggle for justice and freedom is a meaningful, joyful endeavor, one that is essential to building a better nation.
I am so proud of the race we ran, and the way we ran it, Over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background, united by love of country with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future.
Reflecting on the campaign itself, Harris expressed her pride in what they had built together. She wanted her supporters to know that they had created something lasting, a movement defined by unity and shared purpose, not by the outcome of one election.
She says, do not despair. She says the fight is not over. But she also was very specific about the campaign that she ran, saying she was very proud of the way she ran her campaign.
I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives. People who had suffered great harm and great pain, and yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others.
Drawing on her career experiences, Harris spoke of the resilience she witnessed in others, reinforcing her belief in the power of courage. Her words reminded listeners that strength is not found in victories alone, but in the resolve to keep going, to keep fighting, even when times are tough.
This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together.
In a final call to action, Harris urged her supporters to stay engaged and continue working toward change. She called on them to transform their disappointment into determination, to keep fighting for the future they believe in, and to never lose sight of their shared vision.
And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the the United States of America. I thank you all.
With these closing words, Harris left her audience with a sense of hope and purpose. Her concession was not an ending, but a reminder of the ongoing mission to build a just and united America. She spoke directly to those feeling the weight of this moment, urging them not to let despair take hold, but instead to find strength in their shared values and dreams. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Full video. Vice President Kamala Harris delivers concession speech, 9:38 to 9:59. The light of her vision, like the stars she spoke of, would continue to shine even through the darkest times. Harris left her supporters with a clear message. Setbacks do not define the future, but resilience and a commitment to justice do. Her final call to action was a reminder to every person in the crowd and beyond that this mission for equality and opportunity was far from over.